this All In Energy Masterclass. I'm going to make sure I pull up any of the comments coming in on my phone and we will get started. Perfect. So I'm so glad that you are here today. This masterclass was inspired by my mastermind and my clients over the last few weeks. And so I actually had another topic for this masterclass, but after this coming up so genuinely, so consistently, I just knew that I had to do a masterclass about this all in energy. And I'm super excited to teach it to you today. So just going to make sure that I can see the comments as we're going through. If you want to comment or ask any questions, please feel free to do so below. If you're watching live, just drop the word live. If you're watching the replay, drop the word replay so that I know and that I can connect with you and support you in the ways that I can. So today we're going to talk about all in energy. Now, sometimes when you think about all in energy, you might think all or nothing. Now, I am an all or nothing kind of girl, or I always was. It was like if I was gonna eat something, I would eat it all or I would eat nothing, right? I would go in and eat and say, well, I already ate that for the day, so I might as well just eat the rest. If I was drinking, I would like, well, if I'm going to drink, I'm going to drink. If I was, talking to someone or doing a project, like I would go all in. I would clean out my closet, be so deep into it, and then I'd get overwhelmed because I was like all or nothing. I can't just do a little bit. Not that kind of energy. It's not what we're talking about. That's a whole nother masterclass. What I'm talking about with this all in energy is being all in really energetically to the circumstances that you are subject to the situations that you find and see every day, to your workplace, to your relationships. And that doesn't mean it has to be all or nothing. I don't like the word or because you can be an amazing mom and you can have an amazing career and you can have all in energy in both. You can be a good wife and you can practice self-care. You don't have to choose between one or the other. So all in energy really encompasses this peace and energy that we put into the things that are most important to us. And I'm going to teach you how to do that, really what that energy is, how you can do it. And we're going to do some exercises today. So if you are driving or if you're in a place where you can't write or practice some of these things, just come back to this video again in the future and you can work through this. So really when we talk about all in energy, I know that you're juggling so many things right now, right? You are juggling work, you're juggling family, you're juggling your personal health, you're juggling your mindset, you're juggling being a partner, you're juggling your relationships, your work, your responsibilities, maybe some groups that you're in. It's a lot. It can be a lot when we're juggling all of these things. And really, when we think about this all in energy and not putting all of our energy into something that we are have signed up for, that we're invested in, it's not kind. It is not kind to not only ourselves, but to those who are also involved. So, for example, there was a time in my life when I was not fully invested in my relationship with my husband, with my marriage. And I wasn't fully invested in that it was hard, right? Like it was hard to communicate. It was really hard to be my own person, but also be a wife. It was hard to have kids and still have a marriage. It was hard. Life was hard. And I wasn't having this all in energy because I'm like, well, it would just be easier if I stepped away from this. It would be easier if, it would be easier for him if I wasn't involved in this. It would be just so much easier if this just wasn't a thing. And guys, guess what? Like life is hard, work is hard, relationships are hard. Everything you do in this life can be challenging. It can be hard. And we have to trust that that is part of the process. We have to trust and know that that's how we grow in the most amazing ways. And so, I would imagine that all of you that have ever communicated with someone or been in a relationship with someone can say that, like, there's something hard about it. And when you work on the thing that's hard about it, another hard thing will come up, right? There's always a problem, and we always get to solve for that problem. And when we can really encompass that and embrace that, it makes it so much better. It makes it so much easier. It allows us to have that all in energy. Because what I was doing in that space is I was blaming him or I was blaming other circumstances, right? Like, oh, the kids, like this just isn't going to work out, or the job, or the relationship he has with his friends, right? Like I was blaming so many things, and it really wasn't getting me anywhere. But I realized that I wasn't putting my all in into it. And I had someone blatantly tell me that. Someone's like, you're not even don't even have the energy in this. You've already like given up. You've already are half-assing it. And so it's, of course it's not going to feel good. Because when you do things when you have half-ass energy, or when people who have done things that have half-ass energy, it doesn't feel good, right? It feels really hard. It really feels like they are not trying, and it's so draining. It is so draining. And so can you imagine the other side of that, when your employer feels your half-ass energy, or when your relationship or partner feels that half-ass energy, or even your kids, right? And again, this isn't the point of this masterclass is not for you to drain all of your energy and be like, fine, take it all. It's here. Like you have to take it. Not at all. This is an energy of saying, I'm fully committed to making this work. I'm fully committed to like learning the hard things so that I can improve and grow, versus blaming or shaming other people, or wanting to run away because that's the easy thing. That is the easy thing. But if you want to run away for your entire life and keep avoiding these like real life problems that happen every single day, no matter what situation, no matter what circumstance you're in, like, please listen to this masterclass. Come along with me as I help you create this all in energy so that you can have more peace and freedom in those relationships, in that job that you have, in the circumstance, right? And this will give you so much more time and energy, I promise you. So, I want you to think about how a place in your life, whether it's a relationship or a circumstance, maybe it's your job, maybe it's your work, maybe it's your kids, where you're just like, I just don't have all in energy. I'm honestly going to look at this and say, I haven't been putting my energy fully into these spaces when I'm, in those spaces. And if you want to share in the comments, you can do that. But think about those spaces where you haven't been putting in your all in energy. Just think about them. Bringing awareness to this can be super important. And that's where things can change. Even just becoming aware of the places where you're not putting all in energy can help change your life. Okay. So, how would your life be different? How would it look different if you had all in energy in this area where you're feeling that you don't have all in energy? How would it be different? Maybe your communications would be different with that person or those people or that group or that circumstance, right? Because when I have half-ass energy, I'm like, I don't care. And when I'm all in energy, I'm like, I do care, and how can we make this work together? You see the difference? Okay, so think about how your life would look different if you had that all in energy in those areas where you're feeling that you don't. Okay, so I'm going to have you do some exercises now. I'm going to talk you through this, and these are going to be really powerful. So again, if you're driving, if you are not able to write things down, come back to this. That's okay. Or jot down these questions and then do them later. So I want you to not only think about those things where you're not all in, but write them down. Write down all the things in your life you feel like you're not all in for. Again, this might be your self-care. This might be your health. This might be your work, your family, right? When you think about health, it's like, well, I do it, but I don't really do it. Or I know it's important, but maybe it's not meaningful. And so I want you to write down all of those places where you feel like you are not all in. Group, responsibilities, right? You're just doing it, but you feel remorseful when you do it, or maybe you feel bitter when you do it, or when you interact, right? I know that there's some places in life where you can feel that. It's part of the human experience. Everyone has these spaces in their life. Okay, so write those down or think about them. Now I want you to identify which categories or items aren't an option to let go, right? You're like, well, I can't leave my job right now, or I'm not willing to leave this relationship, or my kids are here. I love them, even though I feel bitter or angry when I'm communicating with them. What items aren't an option to let go? And then conversely, I want you to take a look and say, what categories or items could you let go? Even if letting them go would produce a negative feeling or emotion. I think when we let everything go or anything go, it can produce a negative emotion or feeling. Even if you're like, screw you, I'm done with you, right? Like you've still got some anger or negative emotion in that. Now, I also want you to know that like if you are in a terrible situation or relationship, please seek help, seek guidance, reach out to me directly, because I also am not here to say put your all in energy into something that isn't serving you. Okay? So something, these are spaces that like bring you joy, or at one point in your life brought you joy, and you love and you're vested in this, right? I don't want you to just like give up. I've given up so many times before. And while giving up isn't the worst thing in the world, it's important that you know the full reason why you're doing it. And if you want to make it work, put in your full effort and your all in energy before you make that decision. Okay, so what categories or items could you potentially let go, right? Is it like planning that event you said you would do, or, watching someone's kid on every Tuesday afternoon, or what are those things, again, like maybe you enjoy doing them or you want to help them, but you feel this remorse or bitterness, and you don't have all in energy towards it. And when you let those things go, or when you decide to, that will produce negative feelings. Okay, so the second thing I have for you today is I want you to see the view from a different angle. I want you to try to switch your perspective and really see it from a different space. When you don't have all in energy, it's really a disservice to the collective, right? If you come into a board or a group or an event and you're just like, I'm here, what do I need to do? What's going on now? They can feel that energy. It's not kind to them. And it's not kind to you either, because you spend more time and precious energy resources not having all in energy than you do saying, I'm here for these 30 minutes, I'm going to show up fully, and then I'm done. See the difference? And so when you don't have that all in energy, it's a disservice to the collective, to the person, to the group. It isn't kind. And we hurt those people. We're not intentionally trying to hurt anyone. But have you ever gone into a situation or something maybe you didn't want to do? Maybe it's something you signed up for your kids, and you're just like, I just don't want to be here, and let's hurry up and get this over with. And you feel that energy, and then everyone around you like can feel that energy too, and it might make some people angry at you. It might make some people feel sad. Now, we don't have the ability to make someone think or feel a certain way. We just don't do that. But it's not kind when you bring very hard energies into a situation that isn't necessary. Again, it's hard for them, it's hard for you, and it takes up a lot of your time and energy. Okay, so we aren't intentionally trying to do this. We're not intentionally malicious, but when we aren't all in, especially if they are, they can feel it. They can see it, they can sense it, they can feel it. And some of you are like, I don't care, I don't want to do this. Then don't do it. Then say no. Then set up boundaries. Okay, this is why I coach women and men on so many different avenues of things, because all of these pieces tie in together. Showing up with all in energies means also setting boundaries and saying no. And those things can be hard to do. they can feel very yucky to us. It can feel hard to say or do these things, okay? So if you aren't fully present, there's often bitterness or regret or frustration or confusion, maybe doubt or uncertainty, okay? So see the view from a different angle. Notice when you have seen someone show up without all in energy, and notice how that makes you feel. What do you think? You're like, here we go again. And then you feel, maybe uncertain, or you feel frustrated with them, or you're remorseful, or you put up your guard, or your confidence goes down, right? When you show up with half-ass energy, it can rob people of their true potential. And it can rob you of joy and your true potential. So it's really this unkind thing to do, not only for yourself, but for others. Okay? And then the last thing I want you to focus on today is decide for now, not forever. I feel like a lot of people who make the decision to not have all in energy, it's because they're scared. It is scary to have all in energy for the same person for the rest of your life. It is scary to have all in energy for your kids forever. It is scary to have all in energy for this job that you don't know where it will take you, or this organization that you're just not certain, maybe it's a school kids club and you're just not certain your kid's going to stick with it. It's hard to have all in energy for those things. It's hard and it's scary because we don't know, right, what that looks like, how it's going to look in the future. What is it going to do for us? What can I do for it? Am I good enough? Is it good enough for me? There's so many fears that can come along with right forever, or having to do this all the time. Those are some words and phrases that I like to throw out when I'm being very dramatic, right? Like, this always happens, or I'm always going to have to be the one to do that. And when I say those things, it makes me feel stuck. It makes me feel overwhelmed, and it creates a lot of fear. And so I want you to decide for now, not forever, right? And we can do this. This is like a very amazing personal development thing that works in so many ways for so many people, so many situations. Is like, let's just chunk it out, right? Like, just for a little bit, just for 5 minutes, just for this 30-minute meeting, just for this 10-minute conversation, I'm going to decide to be all in. Not forever, just for now. So what 3 items that you weren't all in on, if you have 3, maybe you just have 1, but what are some items that you weren't all in on that you would like to be at this time in your life? And I want you to decide, not for now, or for now, not forever. That helps let go of some of that fear of that, I got to do this forever and always. Shoot, that's overwhelming, and I don't like that. It makes me feel very stuck, really, really stuck in the spaces that I am. Okay, so I want you to decide, find those 3 things, or those 3 spaces where you feel like, I'm just not giving my all in energy right now, and decide, okay, when is the next time I will be engaging with that person, that thing, that situation, maybe that circumstance that happens. When is the next time? And then, do I want to decide that for that engagement that I want to be all in? And if you're not willing to decide to have your all in energy into it, it might be one of those things that you could let go of, that you're ready to let go of. Because I've had all in energy to things in my life that just aren't important to me anymore. They're not priorities to me anymore. I'm not trying to cause pain or harm, but it's just who I am. It's how I've evolved. And you will evolve too. Okay, so really focusing on, okay, not now or not forever, but just for now. And what does that look like? Okay, I'm going to be very strict in my boundaries or my communication with this person that, hey, I've got 10 minutes to talk and then I've got to run. Like, decide to be all in for those 10 minutes. So that comes with setting boundaries, and then that comes with creating that all in energy for that person, for yourself, for that situation. Okay. I also want you to answer a few of these questions so that you can gain some clarity into this all in energy and those things that you want to put this all in energy into. Okay. Why is it important for you to be all in? Right? Like, it was important for me to be all in my relationship because my marriage is important, right? Like, at some point in my life, that was important to me. And I want to find that place again, right? Have you ever said, like, I just want to find the joy, I just want to find the love, I just want to find the magic, the excitement that I used to have, right? It's like the shiny object. They're fun, it's new, it's great to try new things and have new things. And when you've been doing something or with someone for a while, you can lose that, right? So I want you to go back to your why. Why is it important for you to be all in this scenario, in this relationship, in this situation? And then I want you to take a look and say, what does all in look like for you? Does that mean showing up and actively participating? Does that mean showing up and telling someone no? Does that mean showing up and listening versus you talking or getting angry or mad or going right back at them? What does all in energy look like for you in those situations, in those scenarios? And then another very important question is, what items do you plan to let go of so you can pivot your all in energy to the things that matter most? I did this for years. I had half-ish energy in a lot of things. And now, I don't, if any of you study human design, I'm a manifesting generator. So I am prone to, like, enjoying lots of things, being engaged in lots of things. And that's, now that I know that, that's very helpful to me because I'm like, this is who I am. This is what drives me. This is what fuels me. But I used to be spread even thinner. And I used to, the word no was never in my vocabulary. And what that did is it spread me thin. And so then I showed up with, like, bitter energy to all of the things because I told myself I didn't have time. I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the resources to be doing this. Okay. So what items do you plan or could you consider letting go of so that you can pivot your all in energy to the things that matter most? When you decide to be all in, and again, this isn't all in like it's all or nothing. I don't like the word or. It's like you can be all in your relationship and you can be all in on helping your kid with this event. You can do both. And that's what life is about. Because if we had only all in energy on one thing, we would feel super overwhelmed and not be able to function because this world has lots of demands on us. So deciding to be all in allows you to stop fighting in your brain, right? We cause ourselves so much torment within because we're thinking about decisions. And a lot of times too, we're seeing it from our perspective of not all in. When I show up to a conversation, I'm not all in. I'm like, they aren't listening to me. Well, you aren't listening to them either. So you have to be honest with yourself with this. And that's hard too. It's hard to be honest with yourself because, who wants to be like, oh yeah, I did that wrong, or that was hard for me. But it's okay. Like, that's what we need to grow. That's what we need to do to define and determine these spaces for us. So deciding to be all in allows you to stop fighting in your brain and causing yourself torment because it helps you listen with your heart versus allowing unintentional thoughts and emotions to lead you, right? Like making assumptions. When you're not all in, you make a lot of assumptions, right? They just want me here because of this. They're just using me. They're just, they're not listening to me. If he would stop doing that, it would be better, right? Like you're making a lot of assumptions and you're having a lot of unintentional thoughts when you don't go all in. And if you struggle with decisions, last month I did a masterclass on decision-making mastery. And so that was very important. And all of the things that I coach everyone on, myself on, they all tie together. This is all part of our life journey. So I wanted to recap again what we went over today. Creating all-in energy is so kind to yourself and others. It is so kind when you show up with all-in energy because you know what it feels like when people don't show up with all in energy. It feels hard. It feels challenging. It brings a bad taste to the room or to the conversation or to the relationship. So show up with that all in energy, which is a form of kindness. And I know that you are all committed to being kind and really focusing on how you can contribute to yourself and others in this world. I want you to identify or write down all the places in your life where you feel like you're not all in. Which categories are an option to let go, even if there's negative emotion, and what categories aren't an option to let go. Then I want you to do a 180. See the view from a different angle, a different perspective. Know what it feels like for when people don't have all in energy. And then imagine what it might feel like for people when you don't have all in energy. And then most importantly, decide for now, not forever, right? You're not tied to this. You don't have to stay with this forever. This doesn't have to be the ultimatum. This is for now, I'm going to decide to put my all in energy into this. And not only is deciding for now, not forever important, it's also important that you know why it's important to you in these certain situations. And it also is very vital to know, what does all in look like for you? Because all in energy looks totally different for someone else. Looks totally different for my husband than it does for me. He's a different person. That's supposed to happen. It looks different for me than it does for all of you. And so respecting that and seeing that perspective, because not everyone has all in energy like you. And that's also what used to make me feel bitter and resentful when I did things, because I'm like, here I am showing up and nobody's doing anything else. I've got to do it all once again. I mean, that was me. That was what I thought. Again, I wasn't intentionally trying to harm someone or myself, right? And yes, it's so good to think about how it looks different for each person, because again, people will do things differently than you. If you ask someone to write a report, they will write it totally different than you. And you have to be okay with the efforts. They're all in energy. Everyone's all in energy looks different, but it's very easy to make assumptions. It's very easy to blame. It's very easy to feel or find this resentment because they're not doing it like you. And guess what? They never will. And so if we hold on to that, if we go into a situation like that, we're actually not giving our all in energy. We are coming with an energy of I'm better or I have to do this because you can't. And that's not kind. And I used to do that for years. I'm going to be honest. I did that for years. Okay. And sometimes I have a tendency to want to do that again. And so it's so important to just realize that and notice that and, find that space. And then really, what items do you plan on letting go of so that you can pivot your energy to all in? What does that look like for you? So I hope that this was helpful for all of you. I hope that you found some clarity or were able to, even if you weren't able to write things down or didn't do any of the journaling or questions, even just thinking about this helps you add some perspective to your life. It helps give you more energy. It gets you out of that no one else can do this as good as me, and why isn't this working? So the next time you're feeling oh, this isn't working, I just want to run away, what is happening? It would just be easier if I didn't do this, if they didn't have to, communicate with me or, be in this role. I want you to first assess, okay, you can make that decision. Sometimes it's very healthy to step away. But first I want you to say, did I give it my all in energy for that time? Not forever, just for now. Did I give it that all in energy? And if not, then we get to say, okay, I didn't. Do I want to try? Is this something that's important to me? Is this a value, part of my vision? Or is this something that maybe I shouldn't have said yes to in the first place? So please just really consider this kindness of this all in energy that you can offer to yourself, to other people, and know that it looks different for everyone. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that you're here with me. If you are interested in learning more about all in energy or learning how you can apply it to your specific circumstance, your specific relationship, please send me a message with all in energy, with the words all in energy, and we can chat about how we can apply this to your specific circumstance or situation or relationship so that you can live your life with more joy and peace and confidence and really focus and contribute this all in energy and this kindness in the ways that I know that you desire to. I hope you guys have the most beautiful day, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.